It's time for Dart Talk. Brought to you by thedartzone.com. Stay in the zone. Thedartzone.com is an official Cosmo distributor and Windy City Fabricators, America's premier fabricators of orthotics and prosthetics. And Redwood Darts, America's newest tungsten darts. Stand straight and tall and hit them all. Redwood Darts. And now, here are your hosts, Mystery Mark and Steve P.
Way hey.
Way hey.
Welcome to Dart Talk.
Welcome.
Wednesday,
Yes, it is.
September 17th. See, I knew that. 2014.
Of course you did.
Steve Pennell with Mystery Mark, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Also, many thanks, Windy City Fabricators and Redwood Darts, people listening around the world, and everyone else. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, good. How are you?
Good. How was League last night?
Non-existent. We had a bye, actually. So I missed the first 2 weeks. We rescheduled week one and had a bye this week. So 2 weeks into it, I got nothing.
Are you jonesing?
No, because I practiced on Monday and I was awful.
Uh-oh. Let's disclaim everything right away because we're winging it tonight. I don't know what I'm going to say.
The views, opinions, rants, and rampages expressed on Dart Talk do not necessarily reflect individually or collectively those of our sponsors, co-sponsors, wannabe hosts, hearing-impaired critics, or those with a penchant for attitudinal dysfunction. We at Dart Talk strive to provide you, the listener, with an educational, entertaining, and fun-filled experience each and every week. If after the show you, the listener, find yourself feeling uneducated, unentertained, and or bored, we at Dart Talk consider that your own problem.
And good luck with it. There's a couple of things I want to talk about. I want to talk about League Darts. I played League last night.
Right, yeah.
My return to League is not exactly as I thought it would be. I want to talk about a couple of instances of cricket and see what you think of that.
From League or just in general?
Yeah, from League.
Okay. From
cricket from the last 2 weeks. Pretty much identical situations. So I want to get your take on that. So don't forget. Me, Cricket League, and then, playing League, and some League questions. Also, I want to talk about how to be a good teammate in League. It was an interesting thing that came up. I want to get your take on that. So that's 3 things. I gave you homework.
Kind of, yeah.
I said, hey, look, there's a discussion group on Facebook with like 3,000 people in it. I want you to kind of check it out. So you actually did.
I did.
Now, you don't go anywhere near Facebook,
no,
as far as I know.
Don't.
You post once a year.
Yeah.
Right?
I posted a couple things in the last 3 weeks, and people are like, what are you doing?
Right. Okay, but generally you're not on Facebook or anything.
Never.
But I directed you to go to this Dart discussion group with, 3,000 some people and whatever. You went through it, and I'm curious what your impressions were.
Well, it was all right. I mean, some people, there was there was decent conversations, and then all of a sudden there was one conversation, and everybody's yelling at everybody, and, it was like we discussed the ADO last week, and so it was after last week's show that I went on, and I just happened to catch the whole deal about what the ADO is doing and their financial statements and that whole situation, and for the most part, everybody was engaged in the conversation, but there was 1 or 2 people that just had to sit there and yell and scream, and instead of just having a normal conversation, there's always a couple haters out there.
Well, there was a lot of fallout from that. Actually, the guy who started the discussion group left his own discussion group because he couldn't take it anymore, and I actually called him on the phone to find out what was going on because, I am not going to engage in that sort of thing. I'll offer my opinion sometimes, but when it turns into a pie fight.
But it's a discussion
I'm not really
group.
That. Yeah.
Not
Well, okay. But here's the
not
deal
a pie
with
fight group.
Right. Here's the deal with an intelligent discussion that I thought everybody knew because they were all kind of following the rules before. It's like you're entitled to your opinion.
Yes.
You're not entitled to everyone agreeing with you. You should know that going in. I say lots of stuff. I know people aren't going to agree. Hey, I think it's worthy of talk. You don't want to agree? Tell me why you don't agree, and people can make up their own minds. I mean, we're not like Meet the Press, but if you look at any like normal network TV show, they don't like grill each other back and forth so you give the same answer over and over again. You look silly. If somebody can't say something because of whatever reason, then okay. Let us know when you got something, and then move on.
Right.
You know, harp and say, oh, I want to know this and I want to know that. Nobody cares. Right? You're one person. You're like it's like the idea somehow that if I scream about something, suddenly it's a controversy. It's a joke. You don't like it. I get it. Move on.
Right. But I don't understand why all these people were then just saying, I'm done with this and I'm falling out.
Well,
only because of the people yelling and screaming?
From the impression I got, well, it wasn't just that. It was like some of the moderators looked at the pie fight and thought they could fix it by censoring people, and then there was like, oh, let's ban this person and all that. It's like, you can't do that. And then they started deleting a thread. And it's like, that's the one thing you don't do. People spend an inordinate amount of time, in some cases, typing up their little posts and stuff like that, and that's labor, and it's there for a reason, and you don't delete it. If you don't like the way somebody says something and you're tired of listening to them, you can block them. This is how you use Facebook. There are people that literally, we have a mutual friend. He was the first guy I blocked. Nothing personal. He just puts all this, political stuff I don't want to read. And finally, I'm like, well, I can't stop him. I'll just block him because I don't want to read this stuff. You got people's opinions you don't want to hear? Block them. You don't like the show? Block me. I don't care.
Right.
What you don't want to hear it? Don't listen. Change the channel. You have that ability. But the idea somehow that you're going to have a discussion group and have amateur censorship is ludicrous.
Yeah.
So they're killing the one thing that was like good about darts on Facebook. A lot of people are using it for marketing and stuff like that. It's like, okay, look, don't spam me. I had another guy drop me as a friend because I'm like, look, I'm tired of your marketing posts on Facebook. It's not what it's for. Okay, well, fix that. And he unfriended me. Okay, fine. I mean, I don't want to read the stuff anyway.
Yeah, right.
But that doesn't mean I don't want to say hi and talk about other things. But okay, fine. Whatever. I don't care. It's like you're right as a human being. But, people were getting personal.
Yeah.
People were like, and there was a few people were really back and forth nasty.
Yeah, overall, I found it fine. I mean, to me, there was, a lot of them I didn't read. I read the original post, and I didn't read more comments because it didn't seem interesting to me. But,
do you name your darts? I mean, there's some weird posts in there.
But, so some people are just having fun, and they come up with something like that, and that's all right. But, so for the most part, it was okay, but there was just those little things. Some of them, some of it I found uninteresting, so I didn't, read them, and then the other. But then all of a sudden, you got the cat fight going on, and I was just like, well, this is really strange. I mean, one guy's just trying to explain everything, and he's just getting lambasted.
Hey, I'll tell you, Steve Brown is the acting communications director of the ADO, and no one has given him more grief about the ADO over the last 2 years than I have. I actually screamed at him in Kentucky. And I'm like, look, you did this wrong, you did that wrong, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. So, I mean, I'm not a fan of some of the decisions that ADO has made. But, I mean, here's a guy who's actually trying to do the right thing. I mean, he's using social media to contact or, communicate with darters, and he's giving, very even-tempered, very business-like communication to people. And if that's going to start a riot, then the people that are rioting are the problem. Okay? You're not entitled to everything you want because you say you want it is like, what world are you from?
Well,
I don't get it.
A little bit of the
not
problem
to single
too
anyone
is,
out.
A little bit of the problem too is just from a typing conversation. When somebody says, "This is all the information I can give you," if you can't accept that, what do you? I mean, that's when I stop reading. Times can you?
That's when I stop reading. I put in something like, "I think this has been asked and answered."
Yeah.
In a courtroom, you're not allowed to keep asking the same question. The judge says, "Asked and answered, move on or shut up." That's how it is.
Yeah.
It
got ridiculous.
But a discussion at the same as distasteful as some people may have found, some of these threads, a discussion, everyone's entitled to have their say.
Right.
Right? You don't like what somebody's saying, just block them. You don't censor you don't censor stuff. You don't delete threads. That is absolutely the wrong thing to do. So I was sort of like a little confused, by that. As far as is the chat actually working? For the people listening at home,
it's kind of working, but then I who knows?
Okay, well, if you break it, I have no answer. I mean, I was in here the other night. We updated some plugins, so hopefully there were a couple of isolated instances of people, kind of the show was freezing on them and stuff. Hopefully that's not going to happen anymore. And then I tried to make the chat a little easier to use. Mm-hmm. So if there's anybody, if you guys are having problems in the chat or having problems watching the show, email darttalk@gmail.com and let me know. And I will, if there's a way to, make it better, I'll certainly try. If you have complaints about the show, those go to Sam the intern at internsareus.us. He's waiting on them. Our intern is trained, man. He's raring to go. He's got a Twitter handle now too. He's going to start tweeting. Sam the intern's going to start tweeting. I think you guys will get a kick out of that. So where are we on time? I don't want to talk about Facebook much.
Oh, we got a few more minutes.
We got a few more minutes.
But yeah, I mean, just generally to finish on that, really is like, I mean, I'll go back to it. I'll check it out again, but
there are legitimate questions. There was an interesting one today. We probably won't have time to, and it's a topic that I've avoided like the plague since we started doing the show, and that's sponsorship. I mean, I don't really want to talk about sponsors, but there was some interesting conversations about that, and a guy who has sponsored players and runs a dart business was trying to convey to people what sponsorship is and, kind of stuff like that. And I was like, well, there's a lot of people don't realize that. Everybody thinks that there's 50 people running around that have their expenses paid to every tournament they go to.
Right,
That's just, I don't know where anybody got this idea. And it's certainly not true. But I didn't really want to, I don't like talking about stuff like that. It's kind of like, whatever I say is going to be held against me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I mean, I have strong opinions about some of this stuff.
Really?
Well, yeah,
That's a
because
shock.
I think players have really sold themselves short and made some like horrendous deals. But I don't want to single them out because then I'm an anti-player show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I don't feel like I'm an anti-player show. But at the same time, it's like, you're going to bring up a topic, then you've got to address it honestly and objectively. Right? Mm-hmm. And let the chips fall where they may. I'm not going to single anybody out, but I mean, if your signature darts don't have your name on it, you're not much of a businessman. Right. Can I just say that?
Yeah.
I found this out when I was in Louisville, and I was in shock. There are people whose signature darts, they don't have their name on them.
How would you know that they're their signature
Yeah,
darts?
from a business standpoint, they can stop paying you and still sell the darts. So
yeah, right.
Right. I'm not investing in your startup. Let's put it that way. If that's how you do business. I mean, but, I've talked to guys over the years about, that's why we do Redwood Darts the way we do it, right? Because I didn't want to get involved in a lot of the ways people were doing this stuff. It struck me as a vanity press with some of the signature darts going out and around that. And we get an email every 6 weeks, every 2 months. How come darts in America are so expensive? You get them online in England for like less than you get them here. Why
really?
Is that?
I didn't
People
know
want, like, I'm the shell answer man. I mean, people want me to explain why. It's like, hey, let's get somebody who sells darts on the show, and they can explain it.
Why.
Yeah,
right.
Because part of it might be manufacturing. I think anything manufactured in the States is going to cost more, right? Or if it's packaged in the States, it's going to cost more. I mean, I don't know. It's an interesting question. Where are we on time? Because I'm thirsty.
All right, we can take a break.
All right, we'll be back the breaks are going to be quick tonight. You're listening to Dart Talk, Mystery Mark, Steve Pennell. We'll be back talking league darts and a little cricket in a minute.
The views and opinions expressed on Dart Talk are those of the hosts. They in no way should be misrepresented, misinterpreted, or made to claim that the universe is against you, your family, your city, or the darting community at large.
Hey, back for the second quarter of Dart Talk, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Also, many thanks, Windy City Fabricators, Redwood Darts. Jeff Dodson on acoustic guitar. And thanks, Aaron, for the disclaimers.
We had a bit of hiccup there in the music.
Little hiccup in the music? Well, we kind of stopped it, right in the middle. Oh, you mean on yours?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to let that go, man. I thought maybe nobody would notice. Bring it up. So league darts, right?
League darts, yes. I'm not playing apparently because every week I'm off, but you have played 2 weeks in a row.
I have played 2 weeks in a row, and I haven't played league in years.
Last week you didn't play that poorly, you said.
I did not.
How about this week?
Well, if you're playing cricket doubles and you throw back-to-back 9 counts, that's good, right?
One would think, yes.
If you throw a 180 and a 301 leg after getting your team in, that's good, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you win format singles in like 8 minutes, that's good, right? So I played good.
Okay.
I must have played good. But what strikes me as funny is, I'm playing in Division I, and I haven't played any league in a long time, and a lot of the guys that, used to be the top players in Division I don't play anymore.
Right.
So there are guys now in Division I that I'm not sure quite how to characterize it, but I thought people would be glad to see me. I don't really feel welcome.
Okay.
And especially if I play good, I feel like distinctly unwelcome. And I don't...
From just the opposing team, I would hope.
Yeah, my team likes me.
Yeah, of course.
Except maybe, I'm kind of rough on this one guy. He threw a ton 71, and I yelled at him because he left 34. I'm like, what is that, man? And then,
for your teammate?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then I was practicing with this guy. I threw for a little bit before we went, because we were on the road.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to a bar by Wrigley Field, and I had my headphones on, and I threw for, 45 minutes. Then my teammate shows up, and we play, 121 for 10, 15 minutes, and we play 6 legs, 0-1, something like that, and then we split. But he has this one thing that he's been working on in his stroke, and while we were practicing, I was like, look, you're doing it again. You did it last week. He has a problem when he's playing for real of, getting the kind of full extension that you need. He kind of chops, he kind of short arms it, however he doesn't really get extension like he normally does. Mm-hmm. So I told him, I'm like, look, just hold your follow through on every dart, and that'll fix it. And it did. So he played better like the second set we played, before we left. And then it was kind of funny. He had to play the first match right off. He's playing, best of 3, 501. And, I was kind of warming up on the board next to him, and I kind of watched. I'm like, okay, looks good. 5 minutes later, I looked, and his follow-through had stopped short, like 4 inches from where the last time I looked. And then 5 minutes later, I looked, and now it was 8 inches shorter. Now he's in the third leg. It's 1-1. Of course, and they're both on a double. He's sitting there. He misses something and ends up on double 5. And he goes, literally, where's my arm? He lets go, and his arm is almost at a total right angle, puts it right on the top wire of the 5. Does it again, same thing, where he barely, gets past vertical, right next to the other one. So he's got 2 sitting on the top wire. Third one, same thing. Barely gets past vertical, slaps it in off the barrel for a winning shot. And I'm immediately like, no, that's wrong. How could you win that way? And his opponent just looked at me like, his opponent wouldn't understand what I was objecting to. Yeah.
I mean,
and I'm just, and my teammate knows what I'm talking about, but the other team, I think, it's one of these things where, people can take things the wrong way, but you don't have to take everything I say the wrong way the minute I say it. Everything, if I say the sky's blue and you're like, yeah, because you're a Democrat, then I can't really relate to that.
Sure.
But, and I'm not a Democrat. I'm just saying it was, the reaction from this team was kind of funny. And then I threw back-to-back 9 counts in the cricket, which I don't think I've ever done that in league in my life, in cricket doubles. throwing back-to-back 9 counts. One was a white horse, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this is pretty cool. But here's the thing, and this is the second week in a row that I've gone to a place, and I asked you if you'd ever played at Sixpenny, and you said
correct,
like years ago. I don't know if it's just because I've been playing for like 12 years, 13 years now, but I mean, I go up to the line and I look at the board. I'm like, this is off.
Mm-hmm.
This
well, you're
line's
saying
too
that
close.
about another bar.
Well, the other line's too far.
Right.
And, I think I know. I mean, I think I'm experienced enough to tell that the line is off, but it starts to play with your head. It played with my head last week. This week, I was just like, whatever. If it's because this one was too close.
Okay.
And I'm like, if you guys think somehow that playing on a board that instead of 7-9 1/4, it's 7-6 is going to help you and not help me,
literally 3 inches closer, or 2 and 3/4.
Yeah, I thought it was that much closer.
Jeez.
The thing looked huge. The board looked huge, and I lean in, right?
Well, of course, right.
I don't know. I threw for a while and kind of got used to it, and I played pretty good. So.
Well, yeah, but they also didn't expect you to show up.
No, I'm on the roster.
No, I know.
I'm on the roster. I mean, I think it's.
I don't think they moved the Aki just for the league.
I think it's one of those things where it's like, what's he doing here? Like it's to the point now where it's not fair if I show up or something. Is that what people are thinking? Like, really? I mean, I haven't played in a long time, and maybe the league has changed. I mean, I don't know. Guys, it's I don't know. I don't know how to. It's just weird. I mean, I show up and it's like
my guess would be is we've discussed this, that the overall lack of competition in every every nickel, tungsten, masters, every category is down. Even me playing in nickel, a lot of the people that I used to play against 5 years ago aren't as good as they used to be, let alone the fact that some of them aren't there anymore. Those guys might have moved up, and like you just said, a lot of the guys that used to play against don't play anymore.
They all disappeared.
So if the level of competition, even though it's still the Masters level, but if the level of competition is lower than it was 6 years ago, you're not. So when you're all of a sudden show up, they're like, well, nuts, because you're at the level that some of the guys that don't play anymore also could have been, but they don't play anymore. You know what I'm saying? Does this make sense?
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's just sort of like I'm getting the feeling that it's sort of like, oh, God, I was excited to play top players. When I was coming up, when we were playing a team that had like one of the big names on it, I was geeked up. I was like, let's go. But
I was like that, too, when I first started getting into the Windy City tournament and stuff like that, and all of a sudden, I was playing against Bill Trapp and Jim Simpson, who I thought through league was better than me, and so I got geeked up to play against him in the tournament. But, it's the same thing. When I started getting at the top of my nickel game, and then I went to those qualifiers, for
the Pro-Am and stuff.
I'd walk in and people would just shake their heads, and they'd be like, so it's just like, it's more of like from a competitive standpoint, and it's the onus is on them, because instead of getting geeked up to play, they immediately put their head down and say, I'm in trouble.
Well, anybody can win a dart game. I mean, anybody that's there. I mean, there are guys that have been playing longer than me. Everybody knows that everybody's beatable. Mm-hmm. I mean, if it so happens that somebody's really hot that night, okay, well then maybe you're not going to beat them.
But that's why it's their fault.
Good game.
Their fault for.
I mean, nobody was mean to me. Everybody was nice to me.
Right.
It was like just this sort of like, impression. Like we played Wills, and Kevin was like, great to see you. We had a great time and everything. But then some of his teammates were just like. Like, okay, fine, whatever. I mean, it's not like these guys are ambitious. I want to be Phil Taylor kind of dart players anyway. So, I mean, I don't really get. If you're serious about it, then you shouldn't play with the people that are less serious. Is that how it's supposed to work? I mean, I don't know. It's just kind of strange.
I don't know.
But I how much time we got? Where are we?
Oh, we got a good 5 minutes.
Okay. So being a good teammate, right? Love of my life was playing league in your division actually last night. Mm-hmm. So I left after the first 6 legs. We had 3 to go. So
were they at home?
No, we were on the road. They were at home.
No, were they out?
No, they were at Murphy's.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, they were at home.
Were they at home? Not you, they.
Well, your pronoun had no antecedent, but
I'm sorry.
Anyway, so she's telling me, so there's a woman on the other team who, I don't know, they're playing some 0-1 game, and she's got one dart in her hand, and she asks the chalker, do I have 46 left? And the chalker says yes. So you've got a
That's
woman.
not the chalker's job, though.
Yeah, no, chalker can do that. You can
Right.
say what you got left and what you've shot.
Yeah, but if the chalker's wrong,
Well, can I tell you?
yeah.
She was on 46. That
Okay.
wasn't really the issue.
All right.
The issue was she went to turned her head and asked, I assume the team captain or something, so 46 left. I should shoot at the 14. And the captain's like, no, shoot the 10-6 wire. And then she's like, well, 14 leaves 32. And he's like, well, I know, but shoot the 10-6 wire. So apparently, I don't know, she shot either the 14 and missed or the 10-6 wire or whatever. I don't know. But there was an argument afterwards about, well, so somebody immediately, I walk in and they're like, hey, what would you do? One dart in your hand, so-and-so's playing. And I'm like, 10-6 wire. And they're like, well, what if they say I want to shoot the 14? I'd say, well, shoot the 10-6 wire. Well, but I want to shoot the 14. You have two responses to that. People in hell want ice water and shoot the 10-6 wire, or then shoot the 14, and why are you asking me?
Yeah.
Right? Either way. But here was the one guy, his take on it was, well, look, you're trying to support your player. So if you're like the designated person to ask for, what should I do here, and somebody expresses a desire, I want to shoot at something, you should encourage that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, I get it. I get you want to support your player, but if they want to do something suicidal, don't give them bullets. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you that if you already had it in your head that you why were you looking for confirmation to shoot the 14? Then just shoot the 14.
You're looking for emotional support,
right?
You're looking for
but
sort
when you
of.
didn't get it, it backfires on you.
Well, I don't understand the whole asking thing anyway.
Right.
But I do that sometimes in cricket.
I don't
and
understand.
Invariably, oh wow.
I don't
geez.
understand why you'd want to shoot at the 14 anyway when you can shoot at the 10-6 wire.
There was one guy I played with in tournaments for years, and whenever it came to a cricket question where it was like you could do A or B, and I asked him, what should I do, thinking I want to do A, he would always say B.
Mm-hmm.
Always. I had to stop asking, right? Because he's not seeing the same game that I'm seeing, right? And then it would always mess me up because now in your head there's negativity, and you can't have that.
Mm-hmm.
So the captain trying to be like, well, okay, then go shoot the 14. Okay, I get that. And that's probably the best thing to do is you say, shoot the 14, and then after the leg is over, say, well, look,
why would you do that? Right.
Well, 14 leaves 32.
I know, but what? Yeah.
But I mean, if you're not a really strong player, that's an easy shot to miss.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas
Absolutely.
the 10-6
The
wire is
percentage play
twice as easy to hit
Yeah.
because it's twice as big. And one of the principles is, shoot at the biggest target. Right? So I just kind of found that. And again, I'm kind of relearning this stuff because I haven't played League in so long.
Was it a singles match or was it a partner match?
No, it was a doubles.
It was a doubles
match.
match.
It was a doubles match. So I assume she asked her partner. But then, if you ask and you don't get the answer you want, what are you supposed to do?
Right. But if you ask your partner's telling you what I want left. What they want left.
I don't know if it's that so much as it's like don't waste a dart and miss the 14. Hit the 10-6 and I'll take what's left. Kind of.
Well, yes
and
no,
like
but he's in the same spot. I mean, maybe he wanted 40 instead of 32, and or
well,
36.
Then shouldn't he have said
or
shoot
36.
the fat 6?
Well, but you're also giving a benefit down to missing.
Well,
but I think if you're asking your partner for basically, in my estimation, she's asking what do you prefer? What do you want left? And he's basically saying, leave me 40 or 36. Don't leave me 32.
It could have been that. It looked to me like somebody who's at the line looking for emotional support. And I see this in so many different ways. It's kind of a tell. Like I've seen it where, when somebody's struggling, they start talking to the chalker. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, for one, the talker isn't supposed to talk unless to tell you what you've shot or what you have left. Other than that, they're supposed to remain mute. But I see people struggling, and then they converse with the chalker, and usually, I mean, I'm not sure the chalker says anything, but it's just kind of a way to kind of like, I don't know, get something out of your system, get your mind off it, however it is. I mean, the same way people mutter to themselves, stuff like that. I mean, I get that you want emotional support, but
the problem with that too is that means you have no confidence in hitting the 14. So you're turning around
likely not to hit it then.
Oh, right. You have no confidence to begin with. Otherwise, you would have just thrown at it. And when you turn around, if you don't get the yes, shoot at the 14, then now all of a sudden you're really screwed up.
But it goes both ways. Like, I've tried to be affirmative on this, right? When we probably have to take a break, so I'll end on this. But like, I'll be playing a blind draw or something, and somebody will be in that exact situation. They're on 46, one dart in their hand, and they hesitate. And I immediately shout out 10-6 wire. And I've had people turn around and say, hey, I know how to play.
Right.
And I'll be like, well, what are you waiting around for?
Yeah. What are you thinking about?
Why isn't the dart in the air? What are you thinking about? Bullseye? Busted? I don't know. All right, let's take a break. You're listening to Dart Talk. Mystery Marks, Steve Ponsiamo. We'll be right back.
Talk agrees to adhere to the Geneva Convention in treating fairly its prisoners in their war against lackluster darting administration and behaviour.
Back for the second half of Dart Talk, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Also, many thanks, Windy City Fabricators, Redwood Darts, Aaron, Jeff, Jill, everybody who supports the show. We do appreciate it, and we thank you for listening. How's your fantasy team?
Same as every year. I start out awful.
Okay.
And then I have a rush to the playoffs, and I usually never make it. So, stinks, basically.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, all this nonsense. There's ridiculousness in the NFL the last, 2 weeks?
Oh, it's crazy.
They, put 2 guys on the exempt list today.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yep. I don't know what they're going to do with the guy in San Francisco.
Both of the guys that were supposed to play, and all of a sudden, they're, with the outrage, and it makes sense.
I don't know. I mean, there's separate issues. Domestic violence is terrible. We're against it. We oppose it.
Doesn't it seem like to you, though, that all of a sudden, so with all the rules and everything they've been trying to enforce, that all of a sudden it seems like, because there's another guy today that just got arrested for domestic violence.
Yeah, some guy. Is he on the? Oh, he's on Phoenix.
It's like an epidemic. An epidemic.
I don't know.
Epidemic? What the hell is that?
Epidemic, yeah.
An epidemic. It's like all of a sudden.
They should call the CDC.
It's crazy, though.
Cheap shot.
It's worse.
I don't know. I don't know really what to make a lot of it. I mean, it's complicated issues. I'm just sort of like looking at the way the NFL is under siege, and I can't help thinking about the ADO. And the ADO doesn't deal with player discipline and all this other stuff. I mean, I don't know if we'd be better off or not if they did, but it just strikes me that, like, with social media now, and the way you can get your message both ways. Mm-hmm. When it was only mainstream media, the message was all one way, and then everyone's isolated, right? And if you took the time to write a letter to the editor, or you took the time to write a letter to the league office, I mean, how many people are going to do that? Not enough to make a difference.
Yeah.
But when you get like 5,000, 10,000, 50,000 signatures on a petition, people stand up and take notice. Not so much the league, but the sponsors.
Right.
And when the sponsors start saying, you know what, we're not paying you any more money, all of a sudden, hey, guess who's not playing? Who killed one of my fantasy teams.
Yeah.
But, I mean.
Well, that's true, too.
I have no problem with that. I like that Baltimore cut Ray Rice Because, I mean, when, is that the kind of guy you want playing for you?
No. But we discussed this last week, but it's still, he got double jeopardy from the league because he got suspended.
And I said the union would take care of it, and they're filing.
And that's what's working. But I don't blame,
we'll see what the union
I definitely don't blame Baltimore for cutting him.
No, but I mean, it's like now you got these guys who are semi-suspended, who are like on leave with pay while they deal with like these ridiculous allegations where it's like, did you see the pictures?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the old joke about pornography that the Supreme Court says? Well, you know it when you see it. That's over the line. Right. That's over the line by any. And I don't know about you. I mean, corporal punishment. I grew up with 7 kids. It was nothing new. Mm-hmm. It was kind of like you kind of knew if you cross a certain line that's what was going to be waiting for you. It wasn't like in the South where they make you go get the tree or the branch off the tree they're going to smack you with. I mean, it wasn't quite that. It wasn't frightening, but it was. You kind of knew when Dad was coming home, you were going to get it, and that was something that but not when you're 4, right? You have to be old enough to feel fear, right? So I don't know. The whole thing's terrible, but I like the idea that they're responding to the public.
Right.
Right? And that's kind of what I wish the ADO would do. Like we said on the show what the ADO should do. I want an explanation as far as like why BDO. Well, they haven't addressed the BDO PDC thing. And I'm dying to see if they do that. They'll do it informally if you talk to them, but they have nothing that they can really quantitatively put out on paper that anyone is going to buy. You know what I mean? I mean, any businessman is going to buy. No one's going to buy that, right? So it was kind of funny. Somebody posted something that was somewhat of a personal nature about me. Ponytail Steve's all right with me, but I don't listen to Dart talk shows, and I don't care what the ADO does with my $2. And I'm like, well, okay. I'm pretty sure the whole show isn't about what the ADO does with your $2, but the other thing, somebody put up in the chat room about how, this ridiculousness with the lines. It used to be, and I don't know, maybe it changed. It used to be the responsibility of the league to make sure the boards were hung right and that the lines were hung right.
Right.
And I don't think they're doing it. Yeah. I don't think they're doing it. I've been to 2 venues now, and the lines are off at both. And I find that sloppy. I find it sloppy, and darts is a game that does not forgive sloppy. You throw sloppy, you lose to somebody who's throwing with more precision. That's just beyond. That's just how it is.
Why? I mean, I get.
I don't get the
they
whole.
Should make sure, but I mean, when you're setting up a dartboard, why would you just like all willy nilly do it and just say, "Hey, looks good"?
I don't know. I mean, there's a certain amount of groupthink that goes on. If all you do is talk to the darters in your league, eventually, you're all going to come to the same conclusion. So at some point, somebody's like, it's a little easier when the line's closer to the board. Okay.
And so they say, okay,
so
instead of setting
that's
it up.
supposed to give you home field advantage where now I'm, instead of averaging like, 80, I'm going to average 97. Is that going to help you? I mean, I just don't get it. I don't get why this stuff isn't, like, enforced. And maybe that's part of the reason, darts has declined. I mean, people don't care about basics.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, not only enforcing it, but it's unfortunate that the people that are playing don't care. If they're really going to sit there and say, well, let's move the lineup in our league because the teams coming in aren't going to be able to throw well.
I don't know if it's deliberate or if it's just an oversight or if it's just like, yeah, whatever. I don't
That's
really
care.
That's
what I mean, but regardless.
They're going to play on the same board we are. It doesn't really matter what's an inch. I walked in. I walked in, last night, and this guy's like, "Oh my, darts is a game of inches," and I'm like, "Well, if it's a game of inches for you, you're in big trouble."
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
game of inches. What are you kidding me?
If you miss by an inch, you're upset.
You miss by an inch, and you're destroying yourself.
Right. Yeah,
that's what people don't understand about 01. Right? If you play cricket and miss by an inch, you don't get penalized. You just that dart won't count. In 01, if you miss by an inch, you turn a 1 dart out into a 2 dart out. Mm-hmm. Now you're in big trouble.
Yeah.
People don't realize that.
Right.
They think all you do is throw it at the
throw
it to 20 and then hit a double, and cricket's so wonderful. Speaking of cricket, okay.
Not only that, you miss by an inch, and you miss by an inch high in a double 20, and then all of a sudden your mind starts going, "Oh my God." Yeah, it just makes it that much harder to hit the next one. But you missed by an inch at the triple 20 in cricket. You hit a single, and next thing you know, you can close it.
You're giving yourself credit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you give yourself it's like I said with the beginners who accidentally hit triples and they're happy. Well,
Yeah.
You shouldn't really be happy.
Yeah, when they're 3 inches off to the
Yeah.
right and hit a trip 18.
How often do you think that's going to happen? You really, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I get you're happy that the round wasn't a total disaster, but they're too happy. You know, don't they realize it's like that was pure luck and
That
it's
wasn't
not going to happen
where
again?
it wasn't going where it was supposed to.
At least, my significant other knows that if she accidentally throws it in the trip 18 going for the 20, to immediately throw the next two at the 18 and pretend that you did it on purpose. Right? At least have the courtesy to fake it.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Speaking of cricket.
Yeah, I want to talk cricket. Okay, so put your cricket thinking cap on, which is probably, is it small or big? I don't know. Okay, it's a similar situation. Week 1, okay, I'm playing cricket. We need 2 bulls to win the game, and we can score on 16s. And we have a 32, 40, say a 15-point lead.
Okay.
Something like that. 17, 18-point lead. I go to my partner. It's my turn. We need 2 bulls to win. And we're up, whatever up. We're up under 30. I go to my partner. I'm like, can you hit 2 bulls? And he's like, well, yeah. Can you? I'm like, well, I'm not even going to try. So I go up and I try to hit
Did they have bullseyes closed?
Yeah.
Okay.
They have bullseyes closed. Did I not say that?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they have everything closed but the 16s.
Okay.
And we have 1 bull in, and we can point on 16s.
I got you.
So I go up there. I try to throw a trip 16. I throw a single right on the wire. I'm like, damn. Throw another one on the other wire. And I'm like, okay, field goal. Boom, missed it, and threw a 3 count for 48. So
you're up over 2 bulls.
3.
Right. Well,
I forget exactly how many points we were up, but now they needed 3 bulls and a fat 16 to win the game.
You're right.
They
you
didn't
were up
hit
2
it.
bulls. They needed 3 to win.
Right. Okay. Is that your nomenclature?
Yeah.
Okay. So he goes up, doesn't hit the 3 bulls, and then my partner goes up, hits the 2 bulls. Game over.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I might add that as I was retrieving my 3 fat 16s, the other guy on the team was shaking his head and laughing. Okay. That's instance number 1. Instance number 2 was last night. It's 1-1. We have 18s closed. They have 16s closed. So we're in an 18-16 point war. The 20s, the 19s, and the 17s are done. So 6 5s and bulls, nobody shot at. They go up, and the guy goes like miss, single 16, miss. So we are now up, I want to say, maybe 25 points.
Mm-hmm.
And my teammates are sitting at a table, and my partner's standing there, so I kind of lean in, and I'm like, hammer the 18s. Like, 18s all day. And one of the guys sitting, watching, is like, don't you want to close there? And I'm like, no, you'll see. So my partner goes up and manages to hit 7 18s. So now we have like 150-something point lead. They go up 1 count. I go up, close the 6s, and hit a bull or whatever, and we end up winning the game. The other team was like kind of shaking their head about that too.
Okay.
Do you find any? What's your take on this cricket strategy? I consider
don't,
both instances similar when it comes to hypermodern cricket, but
I know how you play the game, so I
well, explain how I play the game.
Hypermodern cricket.
Yeah, well, explain to the listeners at home.
From my standpoint, so you're going up. You want to get up over 2 bulls, or is that your street? You want to be up over 2 bulls towards
the
plus.
Okay.
Plus, you also like when you have the higher numbers available, you don't mind leaving somebody on a single number, and you get up enough points, and then you get to close everything while they're still struggling to try and take the lead in points.
Well, in these 2 particular instances, let's take the first one where I need 2 bulls to win the game.
I don't like that from the aspect of when you go and hit 3 single 16s, you just gave the guy winning darts.
He had winning darts anyway if I missed the 2 bulls. I might add, I wasn't playing good that leg.
Well, okay.
Their game shot when I went to the line was
right, but
a fat bull and a fat 16 if I whiff on everything. If I throw nothing, they're on a game shot of 1 bull and 1 16.
And if you hit but if you hit two
single 16s wasn't going to change that much. 2 single 16s was going to make it 2 bulls and a fat 16. Mm-hmm. So I went up. My mindset was like, well, unless I throw 3 16s, it isn't going to really matter. If I go up and hit the first bull, I have 2 to make 1. But if I miss, we're dead. Right? That's true. Right?
Yes,
because
yes.
their game shot was a fat bull and a fat 16, which an average player who executes is going to hit.
Right.
Right. I mean, obviously, people miss, but you would have to expect, in Division 1, that's
But if you only hit
1
16, they still have a fat bull and
1 16 or 2 16s would have still made it 2 bulls and a fat 16. So you needed the third 16 to make it 3 bulls, right? So my attitude was like, the way I look at it is like, well, you could go up and go for the bull, and then if you miss it and throw 2 fat 16s, you've really done nothing that turn. The only way to make an impact in this situation was to throw a minimum of 3 16s or hit the 2 bulls and win the game.
Right.
Those were your only 2
But
options.
if you go up there and miss the first bullseye, are you throwing your second dart at a bull, or are you giving up and moving on to the 16s?
This is why you don't do it. And we'll talk
because you don't have to change your mind and move.
Well, no, but I'll give you the answer after we talk about the second instance.
Okay.
All right. The second instance was you have 18s closed, they have 16s closed. You're going to the line with, say, like a 25, 28, 30-point lead.
Right.
Are you going to try to close or are you going to try to point?
I agree with that. This one
with pointing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Why?
Well, because even if you go up there and hit 2 16s as opposed to 2 18s, you're still ahead of the game by hitting 2 18s. Because now they still have to hit 4 or 5 16s to take the lead.
Well, if you only hit 2, then maybe 4.
Okay, but if you only go up there and hit 2 16s, then all of a sudden
wasted turn. Wasted.
But
turn.
You don't have a wasted turn. You make it. It might not be a great turn, but make it that much more difficult for them. They have to throw really good darts on the 16s and possibly close the 18s. And if they just stay on the 16s all day, you still have the 18s open after that if you have to catch up on points.
Do you see these as being 2 very similar examples?
I don't because of the winning darts aspect.
Okay.
But from what you're saying,
here's why they're the
I'm
same.
Gathering.
Okay, yeah. I'm obviously leading to something.
Right.
Here's why they're the same. In chess, what you want to try to do usually is take the initiative. And I've heard a lot of chess analogies to cricket, which I find somewhat ludicrous, having played a lot of chess. But what I find works in cricket is when you put the pressure on the other guy. Mm-hmm. So if you take the first example where I need 2 bulls to win, and if I go for it and miss, every dart there's more and more pressure on me. By simply throwing a 3 count on the 16s, I have now shifted the pressure totally to them. Mm-hmm. They need 3 bulls before they can even get a game shot.
Right. They basically need perfect darts.
And our game shot is still 2 bulls.
Yeah.
Right? So I have shifted the pressure totally to the other side. Mm-hmm. If I would have thrown a trip 16 on my first start, naturally I would have went right at the bull and tried to finish the game. Right? But, I missed it. Yeah. So, okay. But I did the math and I calculated based on what they had and what I can make them do. In the second example, where you have the 18s and they have the 16s, one of the first principles of hypermodern cricket is you seize the high ground. Mm-hmm. Well, you get a double whammy on this one. You get a double benefit because not only do you keep the 18s, but if you go heavy, which my partner did, you've won the game right there.
Right.
You've won the game
Unless
right there.
Unless you throw 2-1 counts or something.
Well,
but you're not counting on that.
Well, you don't develop a strategy based on I'll hit nothing.
Yes.
Because whatever your strategy is won't work. Right. And if you have a strategy based on I will hit everything, that isn't really a strategy, right? I mean, you have to kind of look at kind of reasonable expectations that when you're doing these kind of calculations and be like, oh, what's the worst case scenario here? What's best case scenario here? So in this case, the worst case scenario is, you throw 2 or 3 18s and, you make them throw a 7 count to get your number.
Right.
Right? If you happen to throw the 7 count, now they need a 9 count just to tread water. So now,
I know that completely makes sense.
And here's the thing that people, a lot of the local players don't get around Chicago. So you take advantage of Chicago people. They'll go and throw 3 fat 16s. Well, you're still only a 7 count away from doom.
Yeah.
Right. So you're not really helping yourself any. But they don't see it that way. They're like, well, I'm ahead of point. I should close. I'm like, I didn't read that book.
Right.
Who told you that? But, everybody everybody plays in the same league, and eventually via groupthink, right? They all end up thinking that this is how you play.
Yeah.
And
that's how
many
it works.
people can travel? So, I mean, it's sort of like, and that's why I say, if you play in Grand Rapids, that's how they play. If they're up 1 point, they're closing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go to a tournament and you wipe these people out in cricket and they call you a gouger.
Yeah.
It's like, really? Okay.
I thought the object was to win the game.
The loser gets to be the name caller.
I thought
and the winner's supposed to smile and walk away.
No matter how you do it.
Right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, give me a break. All right, are we time?
Oh, yeah, we need a break.
Well, okay. We'll be back to wrap it up in a minute. You're listening to Dart Talk with Mystery Mark Steve Ponciano. We'll be right back.
You are now and forevermore warned that you consume this show at your own risk, and that Dart Talk cannot be brought to justice in any court or by any government, including and not restricted to the grand spaghetti monster of the Triple 20.
I really like that background.
So do I.
Dart Talk brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Also, many thanks, Windy City Fabricators, Redwood Darts. Sorry I didn't have time to update the crawl this week. We'll get it going next week. We'll get some results for you. I know that there was a tournament in we never covered WADA. We didn't do the Lake Erie Classic. I think we put the Sean Narain stuff up there. I don't know if we missed anything lately. Coming up, Darts Live in Ontario. You guys can still sign up for that. I think that's the first weekend in October.
All right.
I'll be at Murphy's Friday night. I was thinking,
why? Just for kicks and grins?
Steve's tying one on Friday night.
Oh yeah,
it's official. Oh
okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody's going to come out for that.
They should. It's going to be quite a show at Murphy's Friday night. I was joking around. I think I was there Sunday night. I went to practice thinking the Bears were going to get annihilated by the Niners.
I thought that too.
Worst practice session I've had in a long time because at some point I didn't care anymore and I wanted to watch the Bear game.
Yeah.
So it kind of backfired. So I guess now when I want the Bears to win, I have to go practice. it's going to ruin my enjoyment of the Bears. So I don't know. That's really taking one for the team.
Well, at least this Sunday you can practice.
Well, at least I can throw now.
Sunday
at least I
you
can
can
go out
practice
3 days in a row, or
Yeah.
4 days out of 5, and play and not have numbness and all this stuff. So I'm glad I'm healthy again. I hope it.
Right, but if you do your schedule right, you plan on practicing this Sunday because the Bears play Monday night.
They play Monday night.
Yeah.
There's a Cub game Monday night. So it's the last homestand of the year.
Are you going to that? Oh.
I don't know. I got tickets for it. I mean, to be
go,
honest
go
with
to
you,
Tuesdays and
yeah.
Well, you can't go to.
I
you
can't
could
go to. I
Wednesday.
can't go to Tuesday, and I can't go to Wednesday.
Oh, you can't. No, that's right.
Well, that's same like this week.
Yeah.
My brother's making out like a bandit. Man,
Yeah.
he's going to every Cup game there is. But no, so it just so happens now that I'm playing League, I'm losing the Tuesday night Cup games.
Yes.
Right? So they're playing at noon. Nobody cares. I understand. So, I mean, it's kind of weird. We are not going to move the show. We're going to stay on Wednesdays. Is that the deal?
We have to.
Okay. All right.
We can't do it Mondays or Tuesdays, and unless you want to do it on Thursdays.
I don't want to.
I don't want to do it on Thursdays.
I don't want to do it on Thursdays.
No.
Okay. So we're going to stick on Wednesdays. Just a reminder, you can email the show at darttalk@gmail.com. You can find us on Stitcher.com, on TuneIn.com, on iTunes. We have a website, Dart Talk US, that is right now completely messed up. My apologies. I need time to fix it. Some updates were run, and things got broken, and I have to sweep up and put things back on the shelves and stuff. So we'll probably redesign it a little bit and try to make it nicer for everybody so we can update the polls a little easier, stuff like that. We have a Facebook page, too. Just look for Dart Talk. We'll have an announcement hopefully next week about the next Players Challenge Series matches. Those have not gone away. I know we haven't paid a lot of attention to them lately, but there's more coming, more matches coming.
Right.
And I want to be able to, display that bracket prominently. So it's another reason to kind of redo the website. So maybe it's good that it got broken.
That's a positive outlook.
I want to do you want to talk about alcohol next week? People are asking us to talk about alcohol.
In what form? Is it good?
As it relates to darts. I mean,
well, yeah, we can. I mean, I think it's as it relates to anything else, it's good and bad. It depends on how people abuse it.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's kind of why I'm not sure
it's just,
should we be talking about it. I mean, the sponsorship thing that came up today, I don't know what to even say about that. I mean, the players are kind of hosed in a way, I mean, you sign a contract that basically says you can't tell anybody what you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay. So what's the assumption? Everybody's making $1 million? And then some guys are deliberately exaggerating what they're getting because they want to look good. So that's misinformation for the whole public. And, word gets around the campfire.
Right.
Right? The telephone thing, if you tell a guy you make $2, by the time it's at the end of the line, you made $200 kind of thing. I mean,
the grapevine.
Yeah. And to be honest, I mean, there's no big tournaments in America. They're all overseas. Mm-hmm. So unless you're playing overseas, I mean, you're little people. Right? In terms of the big scheme of darts.
Right.
Right? There's the Darts Live in Vegas, end of October. That's the biggest tournament in the States this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's the next biggest after that? Virginia Beach? Unless you count. Well, I don't even know how to do like the league tournaments or like the bullshooter tournaments. I mean, they're big money, but any single division, it's not that big.
Right.
Certainly not big for the big boys. Like the pro money's not there. Not. All the regionals I see, there's like somebody wanted me to go to Green Bay last year to play in some bullshooter, and I was like, there's like 2 events. I'm gonna go to Green Bay. It's like a 6-hour drive, and it's in Wisconsin.
Right.
There's Packer fans.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna sit around. I'm gonna sit around and only play 2 events. Why am I getting off the couch
for a 12-hour round trip drive?
Hey, if you're that hard up to play darts, come to Murphy's on Friday night.
Yeah.
Think of me as your personal ATM. I'm liable to lose a lot of money. You can, mortgage your house. Come play me.
Right.
Are we done? Are we at an hour yet?
I mean, we're pretty much there. But
are we there? So what's the deal with you? Are you going to play any tournaments coming up?
Well, no, because I'm going to have to start working Saturdays.
By the way, we have a mutual friend that I just heard was ill. So anybody that feels like praying for a darter, please pray.
Mm-hmm. A
local Chicago shot, very promising, up-and-coming shot, maybe ill. I don't really know the details. I just kind of heard about
It's
it.
early.
So
Yeah.
it's sad. You keep seeing all these illnesses and stuff, and it's just sort of like the one good thing about the dart community is they do rally around stuff like that.
Right.
The bickering on Facebook aside, I mean,
Well, it doesn't.
life's too short.
In every
to,
community, there's bickering. And
yeah,
just,
life's too short to take that stuff
ridiculous.
seriously over the top. I mean, some people have some twisted agendas, and I think some people just enjoy reading the riot and the pie. They like watching the pie fight. It's like the Three Stooges.
Yeah.
I think they get a kick out of it. So I don't want to participate in that kind of thing, but I can see the entertainment value of that. I don't think we should do that on the show, though. Are you going to get Satara on the show to talk about Ebola and contagious diseases?
I didn't
and
know
the
I was
CDC?
supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, with the CDC.
With the CDC,
Right, yes.
find out if we're
Maybe.
bringing any more Ebola victims to Atlanta.
When we play league next Tuesday, I'll bring that up. And
See if you can get them on the show next Wednesday to talk about this stuff. In all seriousness, after reading what's out there, I mean, there's a lot of I've got a lot of questions that if he can't answer, at least he can try.
Sure.
He was on the show 2 months ago?
Yeah, probably 2 months.
And he kind of alluded to this thing, but didn't really have any details.
That's what he said.
So
yeah.
I say we grill him. I say you bring him on. Tell him it's free beer or something. Get him on here.
Well, it'll
and let's have a serious conversation.
It'll be the same
about
thing as
what
the last
they
time
actually,
was here. He's not. He said he'll come on, but he can't speak for the
Oh well, now he
uppers,
has.
but-
Yeah, I know, but now he has no choice because he's one of the upper management.
Right. Okay.
I mean, from what I read, it's him, Anthony Eugenia, and David Irete.
All right.
Irete ain't coming on the show. Anthony's been on 11 times. Let's get Pete on here again. But I like having the in-studio guy.
Right.
I think it's better.
I mean, I thought Pete was fine last time.
Okay, we'll get him on again. Let's get him on again and find
We'll see
out
what
exactly what the deal is with the CDC, because I am not going to either we're going to support it or we're not, right? If we're not supporting it, then it's not news. And we'll just read the results. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, if it's going to be, I mean, we all would like something to come of it, right?
Sure.
You're
absolutely.
for it.
Yeah.
Are you going to play in it?
I doubt it.
If you
My
would go out on the road, you
my
might enjoy
schedule
yourself.
is not
I'm just saying.
conducive to playing on the road. I mean, I just took a new job, and now I have to work Saturdays.
These people that have a life outside of darts,
I know.
just don't get it.
It's unbelievable.
Well, how did you let life get away from you
I don't know.
like that?
I wake up every day, ask myself.
Hey,
that question.
time flies, but you're the pilot. You know what I mean? All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Hold on. I got one announcement to make.
You've got an announcement.
Yes. Happy birthday, even though it's tomorrow.
Thank you.
But a little early, we don't do a show tomorrow. I won't see you tomorrow, so everybody wish Steve a happy birthday tomorrow.
Thank you.
I'm sure it's on Facebook.
Thanks, everybody.
But
yeah.
yes, and
Right.
apparently on the ride here, you said you're turning 28.
I'm turning 28. That's
And
why Friday night's going to be quite the party.
The best line of the day, your significant other said, "You look awful for 28."
It's been a lot of miles for a 28-year-old, I'll tell you that.
So,
But thanks, everybody,
But
for
anyway.
listening. We will we'll Dart Talk to you next week, 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern, Wednesday night, and take care.